I drove to Sony Studios to where they recorded and went in. I was met by his assistant. I had to fill out a lot of paperwork because I have my SAG card now. So, I can actually be a SAG actor,
Yeah.
and I do get royalties. It's just, but anyway, I went into the room where the set where they were shooting, and Tosh came out, and the cameraman, and Tosh looked at me, goes, "Are you an actor?" And I go, no, why? He goes, "No, I was just wondering." And so it was a very short. It had a dog growling, snarling, and
Uh-huh.
then the next scene is Tosh, and he goes, "I once wrestled a bear." And then they flash on me with my shirt off, standing there.
Yeah.
And then Tosh goes, "One, two, three, four. I declare a thumb war."
Yeah.
And then I go 5, 6, 7, 8. I use that hand to masturbate.
All right, loser gets his balls lopped off. He's a mix, half German Shepherd, half drunk guy at a bar. He's growling because a dog's leg doesn't bend that way. I wish the movie The Gray would have ended like this. Way better than everyone dying, including Liam Neeson, with 3 mini bottles scotch taped to his knuckles. Spoiler alert. I once thumb wrestled a bear.
1, 2, 3, 4. I declare a thumb war.
5, 6, 7, 8. I use that hand to masturbate.
The best part of winning is getting to shove the champ up victory circle.
What's up, everyone? I'm Brandon Shepner. You can follow me at BUFFoonBrandon. You can follow the podcast at BuffoonBrandonbanter. I had a great time talking to Jeff Wilkins for this interview. He's an author. He was my neighbor. Recently moved down to Florida for the winter. Lucky guy. He was a flight attendant. He owned a gay bar in Cleveland for a while. He was on Tosh.0. He owned a bed and breakfast in L.A. He's done all kinds of cool things in his life, a lot of different things, and I just had a really fun conversation with him, and I hope you enjoy listening. This is the first episode where I have stuff on my wall, new backdrop, and also it's going to be the first episode with my newly created theme song. And keep an eye out for in a few weeks. I'll be releasing the episode with Caleb Cameron, the composer who helped me create the theme song, or he created it with me, or I created it with him mainly. And this is the first listen of it. But I'm going to have an episode showing, from start to from scratch, like making the theme song from scratch. So I hope you enjoy that when I get around to posting it. I got a few more episodes up until then, but yeah. Anyway, I hope you enjoy. And Artie and I say, hey, enjoy the episode. Headphones are here.
All right. God, this is so different. I've never done this, and you know what? 50 years ago, you wouldn't even picture yourself doing something like this.
Oh, really?
Well, there was television. That's where you got your entertainment from,
Right. And it
newspapers and radio.
was a lot more limited then, too.
Yeah.
We'll get into it, I guess. But we are recording right now, but I can cut anything that we've already, I can cut the front end. I just keep it rolling just to
Very cool.
kind of...
Very casual, right?
Yeah, let me make sure this is rolling. It is cool.
So what do people just, like I noticed the length of some of these, do your, listeners just drop in and view a portion of it? I mean, how many people really have the time to sit down and watch a 2-hour podcast?
I'd say a lot of it's more audio. I'm realizing these mics are hot though, so I'm gonna go ahead and
You're learning as you go, huh?
adjust the audio.
Hey, I
here.
feel I'm back on. Good morning, everyone. Jeff Wilkins reporting the news. 76 degrees in vacation land. We'll have the news in just a moment.
You got the perfect radio voice.
I did that for what? 3 years?
Yeah.
3 years? Yeah.
Where were you on the radio?
In Sandusky, over at Cedar Point land. And it's interesting how I got my start, like what you talk about kids thinking about what they wanted to do.
Move the mic a little closer to you if you don't mind.
There we go.
That's
I
better.
should know that, sitting in the studio for it's only been, 50 years. Anyway, and I wanted to be on the radio. I would listen. I said, I'm going to be on the radio someday. When I was 16, I went to the local radio station there in Port Clinton, where I grew up. And I said, I'd like to apply for a job. And the general manager looked at me sort of strange. And he goes, well, you're pretty young. He said, how about we're looking for somebody to type the station logs. The logs is what you follow when you need to play a commercial, like if we had commercials. So I would leave high school and go over at 4 p.m. and work for 2 hours. And then eventually the weekend DJ announced that he was leaving. Mm-hmm. And they said, do you want to try it? I said, yeah, here's my chance.
Yeah.
And it started.
Jump at it.
It started with the newscast. I was supposed to give the news. And when the engineer looked over at me and pointed at me and opened the mic, that's what they heard. I was paralyzed. But then
Barley, stay down, bud.
no, he's cool. Barley's a people person, aren't you?
He is.
And I
yeah.
noticed I watched a couple others, and I saw where, she's in screen. So anyway, that's how it began. And from there, I moved into reporting news and covering the news. And I was planning to go in on college to go into broadcast journalism when the news director left. And they go, would you like to be news director? And I'm like 18. And you were 8, not a lot of responsibility. So anyway, I did it. And it was cool. I was covering the police bleep beats and doing something that, someone 10 years older than me was doing. And then right after that is when I was offered the job as assistant news director there at WLEC. And did that for 1 year before deciding that, I am gay, so I got to get out of this small area and move to the big city.
Yeah.
So I got hired by United Airlines, and the rest is history.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
That's cool. So how'd you transition? How was the transition from radio to, working at United? Like, did you go directly into flight attendant?
Yeah,
or?
I left United or left WLAC, and from there I went to training. And it was really interesting because going into training, there were about 50 of us. And I'm one of the first male hires because this is back in 1978. They were still calling them stewardesses.
Yeah.
But in the early 70s, they started hiring. So there were only like 5 guys in my class and 45 girls. And for a while, I had to be in the closet. I just wasn't comfortable, because my whole life I acted straight. That's why I know I'd be a good actor today. I was acting most of my life.
Yeah.
And then when I got honest,
and it's never too late.
It's not,
Yeah.
and oh God, that's a whole nother subject.
Yeah,
but
we'll get to it.
yeah, for sure.
So how did you enjoy being a flight attendant? How long did you do that?
Well, I loved it. It was incredible. And then I flew out of Cleveland for 10 years and mostly short haul flying, some Los Angeles, LA, New York. And then from there, I transferred in 1988 to Honolulu. And that was a real hard decision because I lived right down the street here. I had a 3-family, and I was part owner of Over the Rainbow, which is a gay bar right around the corner from here that we owned. Yeah. And I had a dog. And I was torn because it was my dream. When you get hired, they go, what base would you like? I saw Hawaii, so I just wrote Hawaii.
Yeah.
But 10 years later, it happened, and I had to decide. And my mom said, you have no choice. How many people have the chance to go to Hawaii, know they have a well-paying job and fly to places like Australia, Japan, the Philippines. So anyway, I did, and that was fun. Now, I had 2 careers at United. The first career was from 1978 until, I think, 2000 or 2001. But anyway, I was based in Boston, and I was boarding the flight to Chicago. Now, I normally flew purser on Flight 173 to Los Angeles. It was a wide-body jet. There were 6 of us, or 4 of us that day, and 2 of them were very good friends that I knew. So I saw them that morning, and they took off for L.A., and I went to board the Chicago flight. And the captain came out of the cockpit. He goes, "Stop the boarding." And I looked at him. He was all white, ashen-faced. And I said, "Why?" He goes, 173 just flew into the World Trade Center.
Oh, shit.
And at that moment, I pictured Mike and Amy. We were in L.A. the week before drinking at the Marriott bar. And I go, "You better marry her." And he looked at me. Yeah, you're probably right. And a week later, they were both gone. So,
Wow.
Anyway, I freaked.
So, yeah.
I freaked.
Yeah.
And I remember driving home. I was living in outside of Boston. And I'm driving home, and I had the radio on, which probably was the wrong thing to do. And the second tower came crumbling down at that point. And I'm, with...
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, although I tried going back to flying. I took a short time off, and we were on a Boston to Chicago flight.
Mm-hmm.
And we were circling because of weather. And this lady, I was purser, and this lady in the back called me, and she was just beside herself because we're circling. And she says, "I have a connection to Las Vegas, and I'm going to miss that." And I looked at her. I said, "You are so selfish." I go, "A week ago, 4 of my best friends flew into the World Trade Center. They'd get anything to be sitting in your shoes right now." I said, "You should be ashamed of yourself." She went back to her seat. She did later apologize. But after then, I knew I couldn't do it. So I took a leave of absence.
Oh, man. That's got to be terrible. Yeah. Oh, man.
Bummer, huh?
Yeah.
But I jumped ahead of myself, actually, because this is another interesting story as far as me being gay. I was in a relationship with a guy here in Cleveland that I owned a bar with, and that had ended. Mm-hmm. And so I got transferred to Hawaii. And it's very different because Caucasians, Haoles, as they're called, we're a minority over there. It's predominantly local. We call them locals, but that encompasses Hawaiians, Hawaii Chinese, Hawaiian Japanese, Filipino, Vietnamese. It's just a melting pot of the world. Mm-hmm. I met a great Hawaiian kid. I say a kid because he was only 28, and I think I was 36 at the time. And because he was 50% Hawaiian, he knew all of the spiritual stuff, and he introduced me to that. And like sharks, the amakua are sacred, and if you respect them, you can swim, and you're never going to be attacked.
Amakua? It's a type.
Amakua.
Amakua?
It's Hawaiian for shark.
It's a type of shark,
it's a type,
or it's all
It's
shark?
not a shark. It's a god. It's amakua.
Yeah.
And that means they're special gods. Mm-hmm. And before you go in the ocean, he also taught me, and the ancient Hawaiians, is you always ask permission to enter, because then you'll be protected.
Uh-huh.
And there's so many things that when you get off the airplane over there, you feel a power and presence like you've felt nowhere in the world. Mm-hmm. It's very spiritual, very enlightening.
Yeah, I want to check it out someday for sure. Yeah,
go. Airfare's cheap. And they have
house. Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
To Hawaii?
Yeah. My partner, Obi, and I are going back over in January for my birthday. We go every year. Uh-huh. And airfare was $450.
Round trip?
Round trip.
Wow, that's very reasonable.
You consider you pay $200 to go to New York, probably at least, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they have like Like what's it like to how's it expensive is it to
Well-
stay over there?
well,
Like, can you get like a
that-
hostel or something?
That's what I just started to say, actually. You could, since the age bracket you're in, there's the Waikiki Hostel. And I looked at a stay for a week because I was just curious because we always stay at a hotel. But you can get air, room, and car for a week in January for $860.
Sold. I'm there.
Yeah. No, wait. This is from Tampa. This is round trip from Tampa.
Okay.
But I would assume it's similar. Here you would go Chicago or Cleveland, Chicago nonstop.
Yeah.
Or you go from here to the West Coast and over.
Yeah.
But for 800, do you think that's expensive? Getting a car?
No, that's very
place
reasonable.
Yeah. And you learn the local. Oh, are you surfer? Have you ever surfed?
I did one time in Lake Erie, actually. So I
Not
barely
quite the
count
same.
it, but I at least know the basics now.
Yeah, because you can do surfing lessons right there in Waikiki.
I definitely want to. Yeah.
And
That
then
sounds fun.
just anyway, Steve took me to places that most people didn't know about. A very ancient burial ground up on top of the North Shore, overlooking the North Shore. And when I mentioned that in my book, the sound of the wind blowing through the trees, and legend has it that thousands of years ago, as Pele, the god of the volcanoes, leaped from that spot to Molokai, which is the next island over. You know, it's just so cool. But anyway, unfortunately, as you're going to find out in the next 40 years of your life, or 50, whatever you live to, life throws you interesting twists. There was a disease that just in the beginning called AIDS, and Steve became HIV or was HIV infected, and discovered it and had to go. And basically, they were told you can take AZT, but the results aren't good. So he knew he was going to die.
Oh, wow.
And I was flying for United, and I left United at that point. I quit. My friend said, "Don't do that. You know, you're giving up, 13 years of seniority and everything." But I wanted to experience and be his caregiver. First thing we did, which is why you got to go to Hawaii, I bought round-trip tickets to Europe. Steve had never been to Europe, and a Eurail pass, and we spent a month in Europe just getting on and off the train if the village looked interesting, and went to the south of France, and from there down in Italy. And it was beautiful, but it did take a toll on him. And when we got home, he was very weak, and it got worse. So we called hospice, and I had a hospice nurse come. But I like caregiving. I'm a caregiver, but of sorts. And sharing the death and dying process was the most fascinating part of it, because he decided not to take AZT. All he was taking was aspirin. And he really wasn't in pain. He just wasted. But
So AZT that's a
First drug.
early. It's the first drug to fight HIV.
To try and fight HIV. But unfortunately, Steve contracted it or died of it in 1991, which was really at the peak. And after that, millions more would die. Thank you to the Reagan administration and Nancy and Ron not caring for gay people. And then Rock Hudson died, and she changed her mind. That's what really changed Say No to Drugs as far as their attitude on HIV.
So who's that? I'm not familiar.
I got to remember, this is history. Okay, back in the 80s, and there's remind me to tell you one other thing on this, okay?
Yeah, I'll write it down.
Just write down FCC.
FCC, cool.
Basically, the Reagan administration was Trump without the drama.
Yeah, and I'm real interested into the war on drugs angle of this too.
Well, Nancy, because before this, flight attendants were not drug tested, and I used marijuana, and I was probably a better flight attendant, being more, conversationalist.
Sure, yeah.
But then the Reagan administration came and they initiated Nancy's campaign, Just Say No to Drugs, and they required mandatory drug testing of bus drivers, all the people. And now it's legal, but yet you still are not supposed to use it. And but on the other side of that is that they're ultra conservatives. So just like now with the Trump administration going after HI or gay and lesbian people, transgenders, canceling, taking the rainbow paintings off the streets in Tampa and all over Florida, that existed then, and. Yeah, that and the drug testing started. Is that what we're talking about? Yeah. Zoned out on that one.
No, you were talking about specifically about how it affected the HIV medicine.
Well, they weren't doing anything. That's just it. There was no research.
Yeah.
They shunned. That administration is really responsible for the deaths of all these guys that died. Because had they started earlier, they may have found a drug, which they eventually found.
Right.
You know, and we have several now too.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying is that when Rock Hudson was a famous actor in the 50s and 60s, a Hollywood heartthrob, straight, only on film. He was married. The studio had him marry a woman in the beginning, as is, they call it their beard for a straight man that's married to a woman.
Yeah.
It's really gay. And that only lasted a year, but he was notorious for having wild parties and everything. And he ended up contracting HIV. And he and Nancy, of course, Nancy was an actress in the 50s and 60s, and actually
Nancy Reagan was?
Nancy Reagan
Oh,
was.
I didn't realize that.
Oh, yeah, Ronnie got a young actress girl.
Yeah.
And because of her best friend was now dying of AIDS, or I shouldn't say best friend, a very dear friend,
Yeah.
I think that something clicked, and it's like, now, Ronnie, you better start allocating funds.
Yeah. Well, and that's unfortunately for some people, it takes them experiencing something personally before they can kind of change their tune, and it sucks that people don't have that empathy to be able to recognize when their actions, such as Republicans, their actions, even if we're just expanding this to the pro-life, pro-choice movements and stuff like that, like them not recognizing that their own personal views limiting someone else's right to choose what they do with their body is hurting that person, hurting the person that doesn't get the choice. But then once the thing happens to them directly, it's like, oh wait, maybe I will change my mind, but it's
unless it's too late and they shoot you in the side of your neck. Think about that. The man said empathy was a woke term.
Yeah.
The man said that. The man said so many of the things that you just talked about, that you just spoke about. Now, granted, no human soul deserves to be shot and killed.
Agreed, yeah.
No one. However, for me being a gay man, he was against everything for gay and lesbians, black people. He's on it was at a podcast he did. He said, if I ever had a black pilot, I'd wonder if he was qualified to fly the plane. The Civil Rights Act was wrong. He never even lived back in the 60s. I did.
Right.
Black people had to eat in separate part of the restaurant. It was insane.
Yeah.
So anyway, this thing with why aren't we showing empathy? I grieve for his family that he was taken that way.
Yeah.
But I don't think he should be considered a martyr. It's a faction of this Republican Party that is trying to hijack the whole thing. Thank God Ted Cruz spoke up against the Jimmy.
Yeah.
That took a lot of courage.
Yeah, it does.
A lot of courage.
Yeah, to break away from the Trump party, which feels like a cult, but it's like just last night at the Charlie Kirk memorial service, Charlie Kirk's wife said that she forgave the killer, and that's what Charlie would want. And then Trump came back out and he said he doesn't, and that he was just trying to stoke the flames even more, and saying he hates his opponents.
I heard.
And to me, what it feels like is going on is Trump knows he's on the Epstein list, and his buddies, and they're the ones that are trying to control the narrative to force people to continue fighting, and maybe even escalate to the point where it becomes, like, in their eyes, a quote unquote civil war. Because it feels like they're like, some people are hungry for that, which is a sad reality. Yeah. And him further stoking those flames and claiming that it's the other side and that is the problem, and also saying he hates his opponents. Who's his opponents? The Democratic Party? Half of America? Our president is literally saying, without saying directly, that he hates half of America, and we're supposed to recognize this is the guy trying to bring peace to the world. That's what people are saying out of the other side of their mouth that still agree with Trump. I don't understand how you can reconcile those two ideas.
You really can't. It's interesting, this whole thing that's with Trump. I had so many friends that I just assumed were more liberal views like me, and then later I find out that we're total, as you say, members of this cult. And I can't understand it, but I have to wonder how 50% of this country, and I don't buy into that. I don't think it's that. When you walk down the street, I think there's more of us than them.
I agree, because I believe I think more people are kind, and
we just don't talk about it.
Yeah.
The news, look at the evening news, which you, being younger, probably don't even watch anymore. We used to watch Walter Cronkite and Chet Huntley and Brinkley, and then I can't remember the gentleman at ABC, and that's where you got your news. You didn't look at your phone all day.
Yeah.
And another brain lapse. What I started to talk about was
news, and not watching the news, and we're talking about Trump.
Well, this is okay. This is where to throw that in. Okay, so this is where this all changed. When the Reagan administration came in, and as a reporter, I had to give both sides of the story. If I reported on the Democrats doing something, then I had to call someone in the Republican side and get their statement. It was called equal time. Mm-hmm. So when somebody listened to that news story, instead of just going, oh, that happened here, like you see on social media, on the other side, the TV stations had to give the rebuttal. That's basically what it was.
Yeah.
And then when that was all abolished, the equal time, Rupert Murdoch said, there isn't a TV station in this country that gives our side of the picture. And he started Fox News. Mm-hmm. But Fox News was no longer under what was, we had to do, there was no more equal time.
Yeah.
You didn't have to give it. So just broadcast nothing but extreme, far right, now the whole thing.
Controlling their own narrative.
Exactly. And they believe it. My friends believe it because they watch this religiously. Same way I watch, ABC News in the morning and night. They do too, and that's where they're getting their information. Even worse than that is this internet thing we call the internet, because I get duped into it so often. I'll watch something or read something and go, I can't believe that's happening. But now I finally learned, and I should have known this as a reporter, to fact check it. Mm-hmm. Go to another source, read about it. So often the stuff that these young people, old people are reading is not real.
Yeah.
And that's scary. That's real scary.
Yeah, it is. And it's gotten to the point where facts aren't as important as fitting a certain narrative or fitting a certain idea.
That's
And
Trump's forte. He knows how to do that. Just lie through his teeth.
yeah, and I grew up Catholic, and I feel like there are certain.
I'm sorry.
And I know it's tough. I'm still unpacking some of that, but
I'm sure.
But there's like certain people that are, I mean, it's not just Catholic. It can be extended to a lot of religions and stuff. But certain like people, like that are so. Like grasping on to the idea of their religion being the right one, and without another perspective in mind being allowed or whatever, is like the fact that like to be able to believe that, you have to be able to choose facts or have chosen ignorance or whatever.
How old were you when mom and dad took you to church for the first time?
No, before I like baby.
Okay. And you grow up and go through all those developmental stages and go to Sunday school. And
I was an altar boy until I graduated high school too.
Dude, a good one too. But it was drilled into you, especially with the Catholic Church. Once you get into this, I'm going to say it and I'm going to piss off a lot of people, this cult of religion. Mm-hmm. And are being told that now, if you want to get up there to heaven, this is the only way to do it. Yeah. Jesus is the only way to get to heaven. And if you don't, you are going to burn in hell for eternity.
And really what that's teaching you is a fear rather than
absolutely.
a hope.
There's no love there. There's no love. That's why we have all these wonderful churches that we do have today that encompass all the religions of the world, all the creeds, everything. And that's really the idea, utopia. I'm hoping that eventually, I don't know, will your generation be able to get to it? Are we ever going to stop the direction we're on right now? And instead of looking at the right as, these crazy Trump cult, and instead of looking at the Democratic left as a bunch of woke liberals, we can go like we do at a football game. There's 80,000 people there, and not one of them knows what the other is, but they all cheer and clap and yell with each other. They get along.
Yeah.
They're friends. They're not right or left. So why can't we take that philosophy and just move it into with life in general?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm asking anyone young. How do you plan to go about doing that?
So I believe like finding the commonality or finding the thing that we all care about, I guess, and also recognizing that we're all human before we're anything else.
And different.
Yeah, 100%. Like, and recognizing that you're like anybody, like recognizing everyone else is human, and before they're a Democrat, before they're a Republican,
right.
before they are Catholic,
seeing their soulfulness, right?
Yeah. And not trying to, and allowing, like, not infringing your own belief system on anyone else.
Right.
Because we're all a product of our environment growing up and our experiences growing up. And we were all born in different situations that have formed us into the people that we are today. And that does, like, we're all a product of our choices, and also not necessarily even just choices, but things that were thrust upon us that weren't choices, but how we go about that and how we continue to grow is telling for who our character is. And what right now I feel like what we need to realize is we need to recognize that people are intrinsically good and not infringe on people's rights. Like any kind of suppression of someone's voice or someone's actions if it doesn't affect anyone else. Like the fact that not all, like, weed is still federally illegal. Like, you're talking about the war on drugs in the 70s. That was used to by the cops to be able to selectively pull people over for the smell of marijuana, right, or arrest people for marijuana. But it's like that's a false charge. That's not a thing that should be arrestable, but they can still pick and choose. And that's why it was people of color that disproportionately were getting arrested for those charges and still are in jail. People are in jail even though I can go to the store, a state licensed store, buy a joint and smoke it, and there are still people in prison for the same
That's
exact
wrong.
thing.
Isn't that wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty tragic. This whole thing. The interesting thing I find about people who are opposed to cannabis is that they've never tried it.
Yeah,
They don't know what it does.
And I was afraid of it because I was Catholic,
Absolutely.
like until
they
I
want
finally
to
tried
keep
it.
you right where they want to keep you. Can you see that? Like if you were to go to this Charlie Kirk Memorial, and if I were to have been able to speak, I would ask those people to really look into their souls. If you all are these faithful followers of Jesus, the Christians that you claim you are, what would Jesus think of you treating the blacks the way you do? Or the gays the way you do, or the poor, the handouts, as you call it. You really are on the right track. And I think if you believe in Jesus, he's probably saying to you, change, accept people for who they are.
Yeah.
You know, I got to tell you, Brandon, I told you this before in a conversation when you were walking by the house with Barley.
Mm-hmm.
You're enlightened. You're one of the enlightened ones.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
I am too.
I believe that. Yeah, I see
I
that.
believe
Yeah.
that. And that's why we're actually here talking. And maybe some of the people listening out there are saying, you know what? There is more goodness than bad. And we're woke. You're damn right we are.
Yeah,
and we're not going to
stop. It means
aware.
Like people are so afraid of that word because it's been used in such a negative terminology without people understanding what it actually means or the idea.
You know what
behind it.
woke is? That fact that when you change, when you go from that Trumpism to being woke, it's a spiritual jump because you're not selfish anymore.
Yeah,
You're
life is not a
caring.
competition.
Right.
Life is it's a collaborative thing, you know,
Right.
like I was just listening. I'm in the middle of it, actually. There's a Hidden Brain podcast, and they're talking about radical kindness and just people who have just altruistic tendencies and stuff like that. And what they've learned is more people are tend to help by default rather than not. Like there still is sometimes the bystander fallacy of, well, someone else will help, so I won't. But for the most part, they've found, I don't remember the specific study or example that they had, but we
need to hear about it. See, that's the problem. That's what I started to say in the half-hour newscast, and I went this way. We have 25 minutes of terror and horror and rape and murder and doom and gloom to keep the ratings, why we keep watching. And in the last 3 to 4 minutes, guess what they do? And now for the good news. And they talk about someone you were just talking, or some kind soul, and all they've done for the world, and schools and children who are getting together, and people trying to make this a better planet. But yet the media, who I used to be part of, is allotting 3 minutes in a 30-minute newscast.
Yeah.
People listen, and I think the more we talk about goodness, the more we talk about being whole and complete, the more that will create a reality. And that's another whole topic, too, of Dr. Wayne Dyer and Louise Hay, which were two of the greatest metaphysical writers of the late 20th century and early 21st.
What are their names again?
Dr. Wayne Dyer, Dyeer, and he wrote a book. He wrote many books and sold millions of copies. This one's called Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. And Louise Hay, who I found when, after Steve died, I was lost. And she actually led a series of meetings in Los Angeles, too. But basically, Louise says this, is that your thoughts create your future. Every thought you're thinking right now, including whatever thought is up in your cerebrum, Brandon, right now, is creating your future. So if that's the case, what you think becomes reality. They need to be thoughts of love, happiness, abundance,
Yeah.
all of this. But most human beings, when they are out walking or going to work, what are your thoughts? Are they of love and happiness and peace? Or are they, oh shit, my boss is going to probably fuck me over today. I know it.
Yeah.
Guess what? You just said it.
Yeah.
Instead of, my boss and I have a great working relationship. The universe listens to all this.
Yeah.
It sounds far-fetched.
No, but it doesn't.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's the law.
And it reminds me of The Secret, which is like kind of manifestation and
Excellent book.
yeah.
Excellent.
I didn't read the book, but I saw the documentary.
Oh, you just watch the, yeah.
Yeah, and
it's what we're talking. It's nothing, these people made a lot of money and God bless them, unlimited prosperity, but they wrote a book about what we're talking about. It's just so simple, isn't it?
Yeah, because what you believe is what kind of informs your choices. Like whatever you're thinking about, it kind of informs your choices. Each step you take, it kind of informs that step. Even to just kind of go back to acting real quick. When we're talking, like when I'm learning about acting and we're talking about developing a character for a scene or whatever, you don't go into the scene with like only whatever the text is of what that scene is. Like you try to unpack like, who is this character? I can answer 70 questions about this character. What did they have for breakfast? How was what was their birth like? Where were they born? Small town or a city? And like
You
all of
became
these
the character.
Yeah,
literally.
all of these little things might sound like they don't matter, but like they still, if you have them kind of embodied like as an idea, as a character, like subtly without even recognizing it, those little things do inform certain choices that you will make in a scene or a certain feeling without you realizing it.
Right.
And so like when I used to be an engineer, like I'm working 40 plus hours a week and I'm feeling the stress of it. And it's like that stress is baked into my thoughts because that's my daily experience. And it's hard to get over that stress and that
demorphine.
Yeah. Like once I like got out of that engineering job, it changed my life 100%. And it was like, I can't say it's been all sunshine and rainbows because I went through some
What
tough.
is?
Nothing is.
Yes. Right.
And
life is suffering.
Yeah. I feel
Buddha.
like we talked about
But
this.
we
Like
did. We did.
life is suffering, and you want to find the struggle that you at least resonate with, or the
Right.
struggle, or like find the path that's worth struggling for, I
Right,
guess,
right.
and enjoying the journey, because just like people say, sobriety is not a destination, it's a journey. Life is not a destination, it's a journey. A creative process is not a destination, it's a journey. Everything in life is a destination, or
What
it's
if
not a
it's but
destination.
Well,
It's a
here's the
journey.
one. Here's I think you and I talked about the first time we met. What if Shakespeare is right, and life is but a stage, and we're actors upon it?
Yeah.
We all come into it at a certain time, and we all leave at a certain time, make our exit. That sounds like being born, living, and dying. What if this, including what we're doing right now, is just a dream? We're actors, and we can make ourselves. And you were an engineer a few months ago, or
A year and a half ago.
Yeah, and look where you are today, an entertainer.
Yeah.
You created that in your mind. Apparently, whatever you were thinking, the thoughts of, podcast, creative sort, whatever, that became your reality. And
Yeah.
eventually you let go of what was behind you.
And I feel like there was so much potential energy behind that idea for so long, but without action, it wasn't anything. And one of my buddies has said this, and I like when he said it, it kind of like it just kind of clicked. It was like ideas are a dime a dozen, and like I've felt like my ideas for any given thing are just like, oh my gosh, I'm a fucking genius because I thought of this idea or whatever.
Perhaps.
But at the same time, ideas come and go, and unless you take action with an idea, what use is it? You know what I mean?
Well, that's intuition. I mean, basically, there's the ego, in my opinion, from what I understand of life on the planet, there is the ego and there's a higher self. And both of these exist at the same time. The ego is so powerful. So, it's a part of intense sex or looking really great or being a movie star or being talented. And then there's that part of their higher self. But why are you here? How many years are you going to spend on the planet until you find out why you came here, what it was you were supposed to do while you were here, and what mark are you going to leave when you leave?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's part of what has drawn me to pursuing like a creative path, is because like I've always been drawn to art, like just watching movies and TV. I've been single most of my life with some relationships here and there, but like,
what sign are you, by the way?
Gemini.
Gemini. Oh yeah, they're so cool. June.
May 28th. Yeah. I was born on Memorial Day.
Oh,
fun
okay.
fact. So it's always that weekend.
Easy to remember.
Yeah. But it's so like in my free time, right, wrong, or indifferent, I've just like kind of been raised by watching TV, and I've just like learned a lot by watching TV. I have you seen the TV show Community?
No, I haven't.
It's a great show written by Dan Harmon, writer of Rick and Morty, but it's got Joel McHale, Donald Glover,
like
Chevy Chase.
Chevy's on it, really?
Yeah,
He's
Gillian
my age.
Jacobs, Allison Brie, Daniel Putty.
What network?
It's on Hulu, but it
Hulu?
was on, I forget what it was on.
I have Hulu, so I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's a great show. I've been rewatching it. I've seen it a couple times, but they have a character named Abed, and he's like, there's a part of me that really identifies with him, because like there are just so many references like that just pop into my head that I was like, oh, I learned this lesson from when I was watching, this show, this specific scene or whatever. And so I guess to bring it full circle, the reason I'm drawn to it is because it's meant so much to me, and I've wanted to be able to share my own story and my own struggles that I've had to go through. I've wanted to be able to share those ideas in a way that can kind of resonate with other people that have gone through similar struggles.
People love listening to that too.
Yeah.
That's probably why they listen to you too. Being someone that is enlightened, there's a reason and a purpose you're doing it. You probably are. None of us know what it is or why it is, but the more you do it, and the more goodness you spread, it's the karma. It's like what you put out there will come back to you. I've already learned that. If you try to do things deceitfully to get ahead, whether through greed or ego or whatever, something in the future that's sad is going to happen to you, because there has to be payback for that.
Yeah.
At least that's what some. I don't like using the word religion, but I guess it is. People like to believe that. I believe that because it's already happened to me.
Yeah, I believe that there's just certain patterns, and like karma is a good word for it. And I try to be as positive as I can, and deep down whether it's a line that I wrote for a short film that I produced. Was even if by placebo the effect is real.
So when I find a penny, and especially in a parking lot where it's safe to kick a penny, I like to kick it, if it's tails up, and it just gives it a fighting chance. I really think pennies have superpowers, even if by placebo, the effect is real.
And it's in reference to something I legitimately have done in my life for a while, but I kind of turn it into a fictionalized version for this short film. And it's when I see a penny tails up, I don't see it as bad luck. I flip it over to heads, and I leave it heads up for the next person to find.
Now, see, Louise Hay would teach you, you pick it up, you take it, and you go, bless the abundance of prosperity in the world, and put the penny in your pocket. Because by leaving it there, unless you're leaving it for someone
exactly,
else,
that's why I leave
all right,
it.
That works. But she always, back to Louise Hay, who she is and what she started. Back in the 1980s, this woman was homeless, living in her car in Los Angeles. And she also got cervical cancer, and she wrote a book called You Can Heal Your Life. And she took it to so many publishers, and they all turned her down.
Mm-hmm.
So she decided that she was going to form her own company and publish it. She became the head of the largest metaphysical publishing firm at that time on the West Coast, Hay House, a multimillionaire living in La Jolla, California. And she lived to, I know, at least it was 86, I believe, and she looked like she was 60. And she was just so full, emanated love and radiance. You just look at her picture. She was the one that I said during the height of the AIDS crisis, she started, I think it was called Hay House. It was a series of weekly. She led these guys who would come to the church or park or wherever, and told them that it's not how they could heal themselves. And when you say heal yourself, that also it really is more up here in the mind. Be at peace, and eliminate fear, eliminate doubt.
Yeah.
And if you can do that, and if you can also say, I love and approve of myself, that's why if anyone's listening, if you want to start How to Be Woke, you start saying, whether you're on your day off, at work, at home, I love and approve of myself. You write it on a piece of paper, you tape it on a mirror.
Yeah.
I don't care whether you're male or female either. And you continue to repeat, I love and approve of myself. And this is what Louise Hay taught. And these affirmations, as she calls them, if you say them enough, you will change.
Yeah.
And again, Dr. Dyer, when you change your thoughts, you change who you are, what you want to be. You can do anything. You've proven it. Look what you're doing. You can do anything you want. I mean, me owning a gay bar at 20 years old, or developing it, which also became one of Cleveland's most popular bar. And that's another story. Can we go off on this tangent here?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Let's talk about my bar. I actually bartended. I was my younger years of flying.
And it was called Over the Rainbow?
No, not that one. That's where I'm going to.
Oh, okay.
But there
Didn't
was
mean to jump the
and a
shark.
lot of your listeners who may be local, did you know there was a gay bar down on Clifton? Do you know where the Roughage Natural Foods is, that building? There's a laundromat. It's out of business right next to it. It's right over here.
No, I'm not sure.
You don't? Do you know the convenience store in Clifton?
I've driven past it, yeah.
Okay, so you know that. So
and I know Twist is there, too.
Oh, that's way down. That's way down.
Oh, okay, you're talking
Yeah,
further.
it's farther back. It is at 100 and I want to say 114th. Anyway, this gentleman owned a bar. He was straight, a very, very wealthy man, a Greek magnate. Anyway, it was called Dean's, and it was really opened at 4. It was just a casual, laid-back cocktail bar with a big fish tank, and guys stopped in after work and had a drink. It was a great place to meet up late at night. Well, there was a councilman in this district at that time named John Lynch, a complete homophobe, and he basically went after the bar and got them closed down because they didn't have the proper zoning or something like that. After he did that, I determined that I was going to open a gay bar in his ward.
Uh-huh.
And one day one day I'm out walking, and remember, I'm only 22 at this time. Anyway, I walk up West Boulevard from Clifton, and I say, I'm going to turn left here on Detroit, because you can in your car, and most people don't. And I went, oh, wow, look, there's buildings here, and that. And I went by this, and it said Lee Joe's West Boulevard Tavern. And I walked in, and this inebriated gentleman at the bar was standing there. There was maybe 2 whiskey bottles and kegs, and it was obviously a dying business. And I said, have you ever thought about selling this place? And he goes, 50,000, 10% down, 5 years, it's all yours. So I went and saw my best friend Dale at that time. He worked for the then May company, and I said, hey, Dale, you want to buy a gay bar together, open a gay bar?
Uh-huh.
So I told him. He went over and looked at it, and it became a reality. And my partner, Kim, joined us. And it was one of Cleveland's most popular bars.
Yeah.
And packed on Thursday nights and Monday nights. Actually, Thursday night was Keys night. but Monday night was beer and T-shirt night. But we had to hire Cleveland police. Get a load of this, all 20-somethings listening who just casually hold hands and walk into a bar today. We had to hire Cleveland police because our patrons got beat up on their way into the bar, or their cars were smashed. That's the level of prejudice that existed back then toward people who are different. And I am so blessed to be able to sit here and find out that younger people today don't feel that way. They don't feel the need to have to hurt somebody for being different, beat them up, or vandalize. So
Yeah.
we're making progress in that area too.
I agree, and I feel like that's the progress that the Make America Great Again people are trying to go back to. They're trying to undo that
all this
specific
woke
thing.
stuff. Yeah. How did that happen? Just Trump came down that golden escalator, and I guess when this all started, because prior to that, life was pretty going okay. You had the Obama years, which I guess if you're a Trumpster, you didn't like. I don't understand what they're upset about. He did so much good for less fortunate people.
Well, it was just like the dog whistle racism things, and
come
like,
out from the net woodwork, right?
He was talking about like Obama being born in Africa, Kenya for so long, and just all this fake shit. Yeah.
Before, all those racists were under the rocks, and then they were projecting their venom. And then Trump did nothing more than say, I'm going to lift those rocks. You come out, and now you say it. That's why they're all saying these
They feel
these
empowered.
lies. They're empowered to say it.
Yeah.
And they know it's lies. And the other people also that you have to understand with MAGA, there are quite a few rural Republicans who have differing views on, I think they're compassionate, but they're covert racist. They've never had a black family over in their house.
Right. And it's, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And all they know of Africa, I like the word African American, all they know of African American is what they see on the television or read about, the poverty. And it's like, no, you don't understand. These people were never given the chance that you were.
Right.
They were born into these projects.
Just as people born in poverty in rural America are also struggling with their own thing.
They think Trump's going to help them.
Yeah, Trump doesn't care. Trump
No.
only cares about himself.
Wake up,
and
America.
that's literally it.
Yeah. But there's so many people. Although there are more. I just saw something the other day about. It was actually this morning. Apparently, harvest time's here, and soybeans are being harvested. And guess who's pissed? Guess who's getting devastated? America's soybean farmers. And no, I'm not just making this up. Please fact check it. Check the Associated Press, CBS, whoever, or Fox News, because they'll talk about it. But they're losing money for whatever reason, his policies. And I believe and I don't want to say this because I'm not sure, but I don't think Europe can buy the soybeans, or someone can't buy the soybeans anymore. Russia, maybe? Anyway,
I remember hearing about a podcast about this like a couple months ago, and I don't remember what it was specifically.
And it's happening now because harvest time is here, and they're pleading now, please help us out, bail us out. Well, taxpayers, if you're listening, this is your money that is going to undo Trump's crap. Someone has to wake up pretty soon, but I don't think it's up to you to, well, it is up to us. How is this all going to happen until more people talk about what you and I are talking about?
Well, so this and I want to circle back to your talking about your bar, because I want to know more about that.
Yeah,
too.
I sort of get off these tangents.
That was my fault.
I have attention deficit, ADHD. I've had it my whole life. Yeah. Oh my God. I wasn't diagnosed until 42, and I'm 71 now. Do you know what it's like to live with ADHD and not know it? Well, one, you're a crazy nut. You're very creative, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you and now, like, this is what's happening to me with it at this age bracket, is that I go off on all these different tangents. I start talking about this, but then this will go through my ADD mind. So just pull me back on anytime.
No,
you need
you're
to.
fine. Yeah, I wanted to keep going down that, but oh crap, what we were talking about, Trump, and then
The people believing it.
yeah, oh man, dang, I can't remember.
It comes up.
But-
It'll be there in about another minute or two. It'll pop in your head.
Yeah.
That's a universal law too. It always works.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And-
that's something that's interesting. That's another that we could talk about so much, but it's like, I never thought I was old. Honest to God, I've been going to the gym every day for the last 50 years, except during COVID.
Yeah.
And then I would take Sundays off. But let's face it, I have lifted weights for 50 years. So
and that's why you look so great for 71.
That's
Yeah,
it. But inside too, my
Yeah.
mind, I'm still thinking at your level. So consequently, I don't relate to the 71-year-old people who are, I gotta stay home and I just can't. I don't want to be that.
yeah,
And that's what's scary. It's like, well, yeah, I guess I continue. Jack LaLanne, who is he was a bodybuilder in the 50s and 60s. He lived to be 95, and still swimming. I think he swam the English Channel.
Wow.
So longevity is possible. And I'm living proof, I guess, that if you choose to join a gym and go work out every day, you will live a long life, and you're not going to look your age. So I don't look 71.
no, not at all.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. Can I still be like 58-ish? Stay in the 50s?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I'd
all
put
right.
you right there
That's
at late
cool.
50s, early.
I'll
yeah,
take it,
it's
man.
Yeah, yeah,
No, that's
for
fun.
sure. Yeah.
That's fun. And when I do start talking to younger people, it helps to stay current on groups and the artists of today. And that's something that's when you grow older, your mind has to retain so much. So it really chooses to retain the music that you knew growing up, 70s, 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
Even into, but like today, it's like for me, last night there was some great rap singer star with blonde hair, and she's one of them. She just became an overnight fame on,
SZA.
no, but it's something. And she was great, and it's like, you know what? That girl was living probably poor, and I think she said, her mother moved a lot, but she didn't, and now she's worth millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And she was you sitting there in that chair one day. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, having a tenacity and not giving up and continuing to believe in the idea, continuing to believe in yourself.
I love and approve of myself. We're back to that.
Yeah.
If for any of this to happen, we have to change. And let's face it, America was not raised by Ward and June Cleaver in this wonderful with Wally and Beaver, and I'm quoting a 1960 sitcom, which was an image of an American family, and everything was perfect. And June wore pearls and vacuumed. Ward went to work every day. Beaver got in trouble, and Wally, the typical teenager, but a good boy.
Yeah.
And that's not the truth. Roseanne came on and showed America what most families are dysfunctional.
Yeah.
I think some very gifted, blessed families don't have any drama going on and their kids are just totally normal. Wait, does that exist even in the very best of family?
Yeah.
It doesn't, and people are different.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is I don't think, like I grew up in a very alcoholic, dysfunctional family. And with a lot of shame. I think my father had a lot of shame, and he passed that shame on to me and possibly my siblings. I don't know. But saying that you're a product of your origin, which is true, because if you watch mom and dad scream at each other and don't get any counseling or just move into a relationship, you're going to choose a partner that you eventually will yell and scream at. Mm-hmm. Every dysfunction that we learn as children and that we witness, mom and dad, the way they talk to each other, if it's nice and loving, well, then yeah, you're going to do that with your significant other. But if you don't get therapy or counseling, if you don't change your parents' behavior, you become your parents. And that's why during the 20, how old are you now, Brandon?
35.
30. Okay, yeah. So you're up there. You're getting old, kiddo.
I know, man.
If you're in your 20s, you still have the ability to adapt, I guess. But it's like as we grow older, well, let's put it this way: change is very painful, but pain equals growth.
Yeah.
And I think that's how we change.
Yeah, and I saw a quote, and it was today's difficult is tomorrow's miserable, or something like something similar. And that's also something that I think about when I see my piled up dishes next to my sink, and I'm like, if I don't do it today, it's only going to get worse.
Procrastination. Procrastination is, to me, accompanies depression.
Yeah.
And that hidden depression, that's not ADHD. My biggest life story is the fact that I'm bipolar. And again, not diagnosed until late in life, like some of the stars were,
Yeah.
And Patty Duke. Yeah, I think she was diagnosed in her 50s. But procrastination. So when I find myself procrastinating, that's usually a message from, I use the word higher power because it encompasses the universe, okay? That's usually a message that's something I need to be working on in myself. Mm-hmm. What am I doing? These self-defeating learned behaviors that I learned as a 3 and 4-year-old and later as a teenager or whatever, am I recreating that in my current relationship because it's so comfortable?
Yeah.
Or if I'm not in a relationship, am I going into myself, into that dark place, that depressive side that really wants to pull me in? But when I do Louise Hay and do Dr. Dyer and read these, call them woke self-help books,
Yeah.
I see myself. And that's how I continue to try to change.
Yeah, and change, I believe, is the important term there. So many people get used to the predictable, or the just whatever's normal in their lives. And
What is normal? Define that word normal.
Well,
That's the other thing. Who
yeah.
put that in Webster's dictionary?
Normal.
And who determined we were to have a word called normal?
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is I don't know that there's a universal normal, but there's a personal normal. And whatever's our personal normal is like kind of what our reality is. And to upset that, to make a big change is scary because the uncertainty can be a scary thing. Like like I've been in relationships that lasted at least 6 months or more longer than they should have because both of us were too afraid to have that tough, or to make we would have the tough conversation and we would both be on the edge of feeling like, I'm projecting their ideas, but I feel like we were both on the same page of wanting and feeling like we should break up, but just not not realizing
one wants
not
to
doing it.
Those kind of relationships, usually there's the rescuer and there's the person that secretly wants to be rescued. In that relationship, you spend so much time trying to fix the other person, or trying to get that other person to love you the way you want them to love you. Basically what you're doing, instead of you're chasing after your soulmate, instead you should be chasing your soul.
Yeah.
When you answer these questions, am I in it? You know what? 18 years of my life, okay? I met a guy in Boston when I was flying, and after 9/11, I bought a, bipolar here, by the way, I bought $1 million Victorian bed and breakfast in Long Beach, California. And man, we're moving to LA, and I wanted to get as far away from Boston. Anyway, we did, and we had a 6-bedroom Victorian B&B. The internet just came about, so it was basically word of mouth, but it was very successful. But
Yeah.
my partner, from day one, we didn't get along. He had an Italian mother who did not like me. He was a mama's boy. He was an alcoholic, and that just intensified and got worse and worse and worse and worse. And we, 18 years, and we got married when it became legal to get married. And I felt no love whatsoever for him. Yeah, and it took until I met my current partner, Obi.
And at the time, I don't mean to assume
No.
anything, but like, did you? You probably weren't aware that you weren't even feeling that.
Let me tell you
or
this.
were
Let me tell you how
guess?
bad. Let me tell you how bad it was. I became the codependent drinker. By that, you drink along with the alcoholic to, stay on their par, to be happy. But there comes a point, like after 2 drinks, maybe, or even 3, whatever your personal threshold is, you don't want to get drunk. Well, the alcoholic does. They want to drink until they can't drink anymore. It's a disease. I understand, and
I have a lot of people that I know personally, like family that are in
Yeah.
NAAA, and it's been in my family. Yeah.
It's a remarkable program. But as far as if you're for those of you out there right now who may be with your significant other and maybe having issues, listen to this. It got worse. It really got worse. We used to fight in Los Angeles, and I threw a drink at his face in a really popular gay bar, and I jumped on the hood of his car. I mean, totally bipolar and saying things. But then I fell after one night of drinking. He came home first, and I fell and hit my head in the bathroom. He opened the door. He opened the door and saw the pool of blood, and told my now partner, he said, "I wished he would have died."
Holy shit!
I stayed in that relationship for 18 years because I got so codependent. He convinced me that his drinking was my fault. He drank because of me and what I did, which is so wacko. I didn't know
And he
how to...
probably believed that at the time.
of course.
But,
Well,
yeah.
there's
and it's that's not to excuse it, but
the disease, it's not I'm not talking about if you're recovering out there, you are blessed. But I'm talking about people who manipulate. That's why you do your amends.
Yeah.
Alcoholics have to eventually do their list of amends to those they harmed. And that takes a lot of courage to really finally face that. And my partner, the ex-partner, the old one, to the best of my knowledge, is still using or drinking, because if he wasn't, he'd be willing to make amends to me, and that's not going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
So it's the Stockholm syndrome. You know what that is, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of what happens, especially in the case of gay relationships. So many of them are based on, what's the word I'm looking for? Trying to, I don't know, they have doubts about their own self-worth, is what I feel. And they hook up with the bad boy types that really, excite them. And, it's like, ooh, but they can't give you what you need emotionally. They're emotionally unavailable. Finding your perfect soulmate, which I have now, by the way. Oh, we still fight.
Sure.
But we make up right after.
Yeah, and that's great, and that's probably like you communicate well.
Oh, when I
and
say
that's-
fight, I don't mean physical violence.
Yeah.
Hey,
But, like-
that's a good. You want to hear another good LA story?
Yeah.
Now listen to this one. So I when we had the bed and breakfast, long story short, his ex-partner, his ex-boyfriend, I should say,
And this is your
that's Brian, the alcoholic.
Okay, yeah,
Right, yeah. His ex-boyfriend needed a place to stay because I think he was getting transferred, and he overstayed his welcome. But Brian and I fought all the time, and we were fighting about Philip, that was his friend. And, I got to tell the whole story. So the three of us went to breakfast, and Philip started in on his usual shit because he's one of these, I'm great and I'm better than anybody else. And I go, hey, why don't you start paying for your room there at the inn? Because I know we had, and Brian goes, shut up, Jeff. I go, no, I'm serious. I'm sick of it. He was going to be here for a week. He was here for 6 weeks. I want fucking out.
It's lost revenue too.
Right.
Like you could be renting that room to someone else.
So you can see where I was. So I leave and I walk home to the inn, and I'm laying there in the bedroom, laying on the bed, just so pissed. He comes in and does his usual. He took the phone and threw it against the wall. He liked to throw and break things, and he goes, "What the fuck do you think you're doing?" And I'm like, "Brian, just leave me alone." He goes, "You're an asshole." And it was the thing, and my hand welled up in a fist, and he was there, and I went. He goes, "You hit like a girl." And I wailed off and just hit him. First time I've ever hit anyone in my life.
Yeah.
Huge shiner on his leg. And I'm like, oh my God. Now this time we're married at this point, fighting like this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I tell you what, we had a house in Palm Springs. We bought a little getaway there. And I said, you go over to Palm Springs and I'll take care of the end. And when you get home Monday, we have to talk. I knew right then. And he goes, yes, you're right. So he left. He's on his way out of town and stops at Starbucks to get a coffee. And guess who's there but Philip, and sees his huge black eye. He goes, he hit you, didn't he? And Brian goes, Philip, stay out of this. It's okay. He picked up his cell phone and called the 911 and said, I need to report domestic violence at our bed and breakfast.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm cleaning and I answer the front door and 2 LA policemen are there, or Long Beach policemen. They go, are you Jeff Wilkins? I go, yes. They go, we have a report you struck your partner. And I just felt so betrayed because you mean he left here and called the police? And I'm like, I really hated him at that point.
Yeah.
And not knowing who did it. Mm-hmm. But it's a felony in California, by the way. I was taken away to the Long Beach police station. And when they found out I was bipolar and took a medication, I had to go to the Los Angeles County Jail.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit, it gets better. So you know how I got there.
When is this, just out of curiosity?
This was back, we broke up in 2000. I met my partner in 2013. So this is probably about 2011, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm being processor, standing there in line, and there's this big Marine type guy, and he goes, are you a homosexual? And I like, yeah. And so he wrote, I think 6 or 8 or something on my hand, which meant I was supposed to go to a special part of the jail, where they keep gays,
Weird.
Yeah, because you could be attacked or hurt, which I was.
So it was to
separate
protect you. Okay.
However, when he sent us to the cells, he put me in the line that put me in the hardcore. They were bad boys waiting. And this one gentleman came up to me, rather big and dark, and said, do you know what we do to guys like you in here? I'm like, I didn't pee for 24 hours. It took me 24 hours for him to post my bail to get me out. And when I got back to the inn, Philip was there. And it was my turn, and I go, get the fuck out. He goes, what are you going to do, hit him again? I called the police, and they came. I said, he's trespassing. I want him removed. So anyway, long story short, no, these aren't long stories short. These are long stories.
That's fine.
They?
We're here for it.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
So long story short, I have to go to court. Philip left, by the way. And it was a felony, and I was facing, serious charges. We hired a lawyer, and the charges were reduced to, I think, corporal battery, which is a misdemeanor. And I had to undergo 200 hours of community service picking up trash on the beach. Mm-hmm. This is how bad you stay in these relationships, guys, if you're listening. I came home from one, and he's sitting there with his glass of wine, and I walk in, and he goes, did you learn anything? I'm like, you son. And he goes, go ahead, hit me. He picks up the phone, hit me.
Wow.
I know. I had it. Yeah, you get roped. Ask yourself the question: if whoever
I'm
you're
so sorry,
with,
though.
Hey, it's worked out. I have.
Yeah.
Look what I have today. I mean, we have a very communicative relationship. We're best friends first and foremost. We like to do the same things.
Yeah,
that helps.
100%. That's what I've realized. I haven't been friends with many of my past relationships. Like I've experienced it just a couple times, and when I've like actually been friends with the person I'm dating, I'm just like, oh shit, this is what love is.
That's
like,
right.
And
that's right, because the sex goes out of it pretty quickly.
Yeah,
that sexual attraction part sort of dulls. And if you're not in touch with them on a spiritual level, connecting with them on their likes and dislikes, how about this? You want to go get them a drink. You want to pick up their clothes on the floor. You don't yell at them, pick up your clothes. You pick them up and put them away. Yeah. That's what makes relationships work.
And I've embodied that. Like, I've always been a people pleaser. And
no, I can't believe that after this much time talking.
Really?
Yeah.
And so I would always feel like it was my responsibility to make the other person feel good or feel better,
Right.
and to be there for them, and at the expense of myself.
Right.
Often I would be bending over backwards, or if they said something, or if they can, if they like if I'd be in an argument with the girl I was dating at the time, like if we would get in an argument, like I would put more weight on what she would say about me rather than how I would believe myself or whatever. I was very codependent, and I've been to one coda meeting actually. I haven't been back. I'm not sure if it's my
They're
thing.
painful.
But
they're painful. I
it's
went
tough,
to.
yeah.
I went to two 12-step groups. The first being the people that live with the alcoholics. What's that called? Codependence, maybe? Anyway, Coda? I think it's Coda.
Coda's the Codependence
Anonymous.
And then the Alcoholics, I'm not sure
Yeah,
what
I forgot already.
Yeah.
But I went to both of those. But those were the first one that can be a pity party where everyone sits there and tells their story, and it's so depressing. But it's good to hear the uplifting stories of those that, you know. But you put a bunch of codas together. You put a bunch of people pleasers in one room, and it doesn't. You know what I mean? They're never going to please each other.
No, but I mean, I did see the value in it. Like it's just I'm not sure it's where I need to find myself.
Right.
I guess because like there's the time commitment each week to go to that if that's what you want to do.
Hey, it works for so many. Though.
It works
so
for
many people.
Yeah.
Swear. I have friends in recovery, both in AA and not. And it's like if that's what they need to hold on to stay on the straight and narrow, it works. So I understand what you're saying. I guess what I was saying about Coda, the people pleasers together, is that it's very painful to go to those meetings and have to face yourself, because you hear someone else talking, you will hear your story. Mm-hmm. And that means you have to be brutally honest about why you are the way you are and why you're so codependent. Mm-hmm. And most of us, I mean, look at the years I went. I'm still working on that. I'm still working to resolve issues which I never addressed in my 20s. And then in the 30s, you start addressing them. And from the 40s, you know, I think it's put on hold or something. You already are who you are, you know.
Yeah. And just going back to like being open to change and being continuously changing and not being afraid of it that's how we continue to grow as individually, but it's how we continue to grow as a society. Absolutely. Because we're gaining more experiences, and the whole conservative movement is afraid of that progress.
Absolutely.
It's afraid of change because they're afraid something's going to be taken away from them, because they believe in a zero-sum game where for somebody to succeed, somebody else has to fail. But that's not how life is. You can have support systems that build towards community improvement. We can help each other. And when one person helps another, it doesn't take anything away from somebody else, because resources are abundant if we decide to share them that way. It's right now that the billionaires and the people in power are hoarding those resources. Absolutely. And they're doling them out to people who deserve them because they're working hard enough. Because
Elon Musk was sitting next to Trump. Did you see that?
When?
At the memorial service.
I didn't know.
Yeah, they were like talking. So I guess they've kissed and made up. This is wow.
I wonder how much of it was actually just theatrics.
Oh,
because
the whole thing was staged.
He worked his limit of like 130 days or whatever. I don't like a contractor outside of the government's allowed to work for a certain number of days, and he hit it. And then it was like right then when all the stuff blew up, and then like we haven't really heard about Elon for like the last couple months.
No,
I personally haven't anyway.
Was not in the
but
news
he's
much.
It feels like that's all just calculated. Like he's still involved. Like it's just we're not aware of, how involved he is.
Just remember too that every day when you go to work and you're doing whatever it is you're doing, that 3% of the planet controls 97% of the wealth. fact check that. It's true.
Yeah.
When you see the private jets flying around up there, those are the people making decisions about the going-ons of the pharmaceutical industry or the grocery or whatever it may be. And that has to change. You know, Bernie, if you like Bernie Sanders or not, socialism, I don't think it necessarily has to be that, but something has to change where the wealthy billionaires of the United States give back, whether it's through taxes or mandatory philanthropy.
Yeah.
You know, you shouldn't be pigs and keep the trillions of dollars that you do. I think the president or his company has become $5 billion richer since he took office.
Yeah.
130. How can that be? That's legal?
Yeah, exactly. And he has a cryptocurrency that basically, and there are tiers of investments into that cryptocurrency that give people a voice to talk to the president. And so it's like, he's not even being shy about it. People can buy. People can buy his influence.
He's a con man. I mean, let's face it. You know. Hey, what do you do if you have to go pee in the middle of one of these things?
We can pause it right
there. Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Looks good. Sounds good.
Oops. Not cool.
All good.
Sorry about that. It's better than dog or cat pee.
Yeah, for sure.
I taught Barley to sit, by the way.
Oh, you did?
Oh, he did, didn't I?
Thanks. Good
Yeah.
job, Barley.
He learned sit.
Good
Okay.
boy. He knows his left and right paw too, actually.
Well, the gentleman in Las Vegas, we hired a dog trainer when Harley, our yellow lab, was a baby.
Yeah.
And I tell you, these commands like this is sit down. This is what you use. Sit, sit, and continue to insist. And then he sat.
Yeah.
And then this is another one. This one, it's down, down. For some reason, sit, sit.
Yeah, he knows sit for this one.
Oh,
and
okay. It's just saying.
Down is this.
But it's not, obviously, it hasn't worked too good for you. He said he's still jumping. Yeah.
Well, he knows the commands, but his excitement overrides his training.
Right.
So,
Well, he's a puppy, right?
No, he's 6.
Is he 6? Are you 6?
Yeah.
You should know better than that.
He acts like a puppy.
Oh, yeah. He sure does. Yeah. He's beautiful.
Thanks.
Yeah,
he's a good dog.
They're your soulmates. There's no doubt about that. You know,
Yeah.
They're unconditional love. He knows you probably better than you know yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm happy to have him. There was a moment where I almost rehomed him, actually.
Oh, ouch.
I was in a really bad spot. I was feeling depressed, and I felt like and it was true, he was adding to it, and I felt like he was more of a burden, and I didn't like that I felt it, but when I was honest with myself, that's what I felt.
Part of being,
you know?
That's why I say it. Being honest with ourselves, very painful.
Yeah, but I never found a spot that I felt fully comfortable to leave him or bring him or take him or
Right.
and I just kind of pushed through it, and I part of it was I had a house in Lakewood. I couldn't afford it. I was in a ton of debt, and there was stress. Yeah. And so once I sold it and moved into here, which I'm just renting now, it's just I'm in a much better place. And I paid for some training with him, and I was able to kind of understand the signs that he's giving me. Like even just like learning when he shakes, that's him shaking nerves or shaking stress out. And now I'm more aware that when we're on a walk, and if he sees another dog and he's interested to go walk towards that dog, or he wants to go say hi or whatever, if like once we get past it, he'll kind of shake, and it's him like shaking those nerves or shaking that stress of, I wanted to go say hi, but I didn't get a chance. He's like shaking it off. And it's like those little, like each dog has kind of their own tics or whatever. And it's like, like it makes sense now. I don't get frustrated. I don't get like when he does his like kicking his feet thing like I used to. It's just like I let him do it. I let him shake it off because he's like expressing his scent
Were you
glands.
raised with dogs?
I was, but we didn't really walk them or train them. It was we had a Jack Russell Terrier, and we had an invisible fence, so we would just let her outside and
Right.
whatever. And I was raised with a dog and 2 cats.
Yeah, you got kitties.
Yeah, and it was, I don't know, so I kind of have had to I've had to learn how to be a better dog dad, I guess.
That's normal. That's
Yeah.
normal. We're constantly, as we evolve, we're constantly learning, and that's it. Whether it's with pets or our relationships, relationships at work,
Yeah.
and that's where I think being willing. And I'm. What was the other? Here's another affirmation from Louise Hay. I'm ready and willing to change. I'm ready and willing to change.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready and willing to change. And then when your human thoughts go back to that situation sort of depressing, I'm ready and willing to change. The mind, this is another author I wanted to talk about, the mind. That's what we program. What's up? The cerebrum up here. Our minds are, we're not in control. Our minds are, but our minds take our messages. And this gentleman, who I cannot think of his name, but he wrote this incredible book about change your mind, change yourself, I believe it's called.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to change these,
Is that the Wayne Dwyer?
no,
Dwyer?
and
Okay.
Joe's, it'll come. But it was a chiropractor that basically is teaching the science of the mind. But he claims that your mind can be changed, and when you change your mind, you change yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you want to become that actor, you can't be that bust out, insecure guy you were.
Right.
You got to be an outgoing, and the only way you can do that is to act the part. As you said, you became the character. You immersed himself in what they ate, what they did, and that's what it takes, and that's all part of change. But how many of us are willing to actually step out there into the unfamiliar?
Yeah.
That's the key. But look what happened to me when I left for Hawaii. I had spent my life here in Ohio, and I went to the other side of the world, let's face it, with no place to live, a hotel room for 7 days. But everything will be provided if you think positive. And I went out and had a drink my first night there, and on the bulletin board was a roommate, private room and bath, $500 a month, which was very reasonable back then. I went, and it was this guy at the back part of his condo overlooking Diamond Head in the Pacific. It was incredible. So that was taken care of. Where was I going to stay? And everything's provided for. When you take, like with you having to, let's just say things like, okay, I have obligations. I have a rent payment or car payment or whatever, but I want to move. I'm not happy where I am. Or I want to change jobs. I'm not happy, but the job I'm being offered is less than I'm making now, but it's a really cool job.
Yeah.
Louise Hay says that if you love what you're doing, the money will come.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. So take that chance, take that different job at lower pay and want to get up and go to work. Don't get up and go, oh shit, I got to go to work again.
Yeah.
Get up, it's like, be excited, right?
Yeah, 100%. Because if you continue to do the thing you don't like in the hopes that you'll do something you like eventually, when is that change going to happen?
The definition of insanity.
It's never
doing the
going to
same
happen.
thing over and over again, expecting different results. That's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, but yet you're expecting different results. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Change, you know, positive change.
Yeah, when I got myself fired from engineering, I didn't have a plan other than I knew what I was doing
You
was not
said
sustainable.
got yourself fired, so explain that. Elaborate on that.
Well, I took a shit on my boss's desk. No, I didn't do that.
Okay. I think a lot of guys, ladies would like to try that.
Yeah, no, I did it in so I knew for a while that I just it was depressing me, and my job was depressing me. I was driving from Lakewood to Streetsboro. It was like 50 minutes on a good day, hour and a half on a bad day.
Snow in the winter, if not,
yeah. And I was traveling for work a lot. I had him, Barley, and my cat, so it was tough to have to find
Pet sitting
and stuff like that. But I just, being in the office depressed me. Like, it literally drained
Not
the
the
life
place
out
to
of
be.
me. And
how long did you do it? How long did you drain? How many years?
in that role, 1 year, but
Still too long.
But I was in a previous role that I was in for 2 years, and it drained me for about a year and a half.
You're with
and
a draining company, buddy. Wake up.
Yeah.
Woke, get it? See what woke is about?
Yeah, exactly. I was a combustion engineer for 11 years. But those last like 2.5 years or so were like the really difficult parts. But it also kind of aligned with me starting improv and starting sketch writing.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Yeah.
Okay. Why in the heck, when you started your education for chemical engineering?
Combustion engineering.
Combustion,
yeah.
which I have no
Industrial
idea. I have no
engineering
idea.
education.
What does it do?
So,
Simple. Keep it simple.
Sure. So basically, I'll just give you one example: aluminum melting, like a recycling plant.
Okay, so he wants to go to Hollywood and become an actor. See what I'm saying? What at that point in your life, what if, when you got out of high school, you threw your stuff in the car? You have a car when you graduated?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, throw your stuff in the car. Just say bye to everybody. I'm going to go to L.A.
I didn't have that confidence. I didn't have that. I didn't have that.
But what if you did?
I wouldn't be. Oh, yeah. If I did, that'd be amazing.
Well, you have it now. So now it's a podcast with a relative unknown author, very, very unknown
For now.
But where's it taking you? See what I'm saying? This
Yeah.
is you have an excellent, incredible voice. Your delivery on these things, you
Thanks.
just draw people in, and I could see why people go in and out of these. I've never listened to one. Isn't that something?
A podcast at all?
That's the generation gap. Yeah, I have. I did. First of all, when I heard the word podcast a couple of years ago, I did not give it any thought. It's like I knew I broadcasted. What's a podcast?
Yeah.
So a podcast. Where'd they get the word podcast?
I don't know. That's
I don't
a good
know.
question.
Yeah, you young kids come up with some. Hey man, let's call it podcast. What? Who chose that name?
Yeah.
What's it mean? But yeah. Anyway, I mean, I know a lot of people have got their start.
Yeah.
Right from doing this.
Yeah.
And
It's a great medium. I love the flexibility of it. Especially having the video aspect to it. It's allowing me to practice video editing too, even if it's just minimal. It's still
Right.
I have to put the work in. I have to get more familiar with the program.
another
and
aspect of the
stuff.
business too.
Yeah.
Which gives you
Yeah.
yeah.
Real quick to just kind of tie the loose knot of the work or whatever. So, the way I actually got myself fired is I just because I believe this is good advice because it worked out for me. But I literally just went in. I talked to HR. I was just like, hey, I don't see a future in this role. It's too much travel. It's just draining.
You were honest.
I was
You
honest.
were honest, and they're
because
probably very kind.
They were. I had genuinely good conversations with HR and my boss, even though in the long run I'm still upset with how things were managed because I left. If I would have, I got myself fired literally like 2 or 3 weeks before I was there for 12 months. And if I was there for 12 months, I would have been fully vested in my 401k match,
Right.
which was like, $5,000-6,000 that I left on the table.
Oh.
But also, there was a 5 to 15 or 5 to 20% salary bonus that I would have gotten if I would have stayed
and been unhappy. I gave all this money and I'd be unhappy.
even if I was there just a few more weeks, I would have gotten that. And so I asked for the 401k thing. I asked them, I was like, could I get a prorated amount?
So you tried to still get it then.
I was like, can I get the prorated amount? Like, I was there for 11 months in 1 week. Like, why can't I get that?
Sorry, it's not 12 months.
Exactly. So it's like, this is only, it's like, this is just a policy set up only to benefit the owner of the company, basically.
Right,
and I explained that, and they were like, it's just the policy. And I was just like, all right, well, whatever. When I was hired, your policy was I'm not allowed to have medical, or I'm not allowed to smoke weed, so I need to pass the drug test. But you're also the same HR person that said, just, be clean for a week or 2 weeks, go to a head shop and get a masking drink or whatever. And because I can't change policy, but if you pass the test, I'm not going to test you again. They
actually said that?
They essentially said that. He at least told the recruiter that, and the recruiter told me that.
Okay.
And so then I was so upset by the money thing that I put all of that in an email and copied my boss, who was probably not informed of all of this stuff. And so I was like, all right, if we're like, I thought it was a nice gesture at the time that the HR was hiring me under that pretext that I could, pass the drug test or fake pass the drug test or whatever, even though I told him I have my medical marijuana card, and so it was legally allowed to have cannabis, but work not.
Let's face it, creative people smoke. So if those businesses that continue, I think even Amazon now eliminated drug testing.
I hope so.
I'm almost positive they did. So it's ridiculous. It is no difference than having a scotch and water or a beer. Again, here's another great topic. We have time for one more? Okay. All right.
We're at 140. We can go as long as you need.
I'll tell this one real quick if I could remember what it was. What were you just talking about?
We were talking about cannabis, and you were talking about creative people using
So now
cannabis.
with me, I've had my medical card because I found out it did help my ADHD. So I got my medical card, many years ago. And it's interesting. I was talking to one of the bud tenders about the amount of 70-year-old plus people that come in and buy weed. We were on the forefront, and it's like, if anyone's 70 and 80 and still smoking, come out of the closet. Let people know.
Let's
that you
normalize
use
it.
cannabis. I sit on my front porch now and use my bong and smoke.
Nice.
And, in the past, because it has this stigma. But this one lady walked by. I'm sorry. This one lady walked by and smiled. She was older. Yeah. But I mean, that stigma is still there. When you say pot, it's like a potheads.
Yeah.
It is not people. It is for the medical part of it is a godsend for the people.
Yeah.
And for creativity. Yeah. Anybody thinks that, let's face it, Willie Nelson, and then you go back to, who do I want to use as an example? Sigmund Freud, maybe. I don't know.
The Beatles,
and
like anybody, like I can't say anybody, but I'd say like most, like artists like weed. It does help with creativity, the stigma is definitely part of why it's been looked at so negatively, because
or that it leads to other drugs, which is absolute bullshit.
Yeah,
not true at all. It's a type of drug you pick up, and it does have for me now where I am in my life. I will admit, when I was younger, I was more into the trip and going in the woods and looking at the sky and the trees and the brilliance of connecting with nature, and I still do that. But now that my guide, since I've been meditating for an hour every morning at 5 a.m. for years, I actually leave my body now, and I'm able to communicate with my guides who give me these messages that I need to share with others. And I find that when I smoke, oh my good, and writing too, watching The Asparagus Girl, I'll give it a plug.
Yeah, I was going to at the end of it. But feel free.
And writing that, I would say, may everything I think and do be for my highest and best self. And then I would start typing. And the words just came. If I had an image, a scene in mind and how it was going to play out, they played it out. They wrote it. Yeah. And that, I think Stephen King, I'm sure Mr. King, he has to use it. Those are some bizarre, a triple murder in a grocery store with the brain splashed all over the cash register while the guy continues to eat his popsicle, not paying it.
He's going to a place where he can vividly picture this.
Right. So, cool.
Yeah, I find that cannabis it's like it helps me kind of focus sometimes and relax, and it doesn't. Some people say it makes people lazy or whatever. It's like, no,
if you want a couch potato, But if you stand up and get going,
Yeah.
you keep going.
Yeah, one tip for the people that say it makes them lazy. One tip I would say, if you want to be able to use cannabis and stay active, is to do the thing or start doing the thing before you smoke. Like,
Right. In the
if you need
middle
to
of
do
it.
dishes,
Right.
start doing the dishes, or do laundry, start doing the laundry, and then smoke, and then continue doing it,
Right, right.
or sit down to write, start writing, and then smoke, or whatever.
Absolutely.
And that helps me sometimes. I can't say it's 100%, but
No, it does.
generally.
It's an aid that way. So, and it is something that, as far as spirituality goes, it is, and this, as Willie calls it, is herb, and it is nature. And did you ever stop to think all those pills that you're taking now, all those prescriptions that these doctors prescribe to you, where did they come from? They came from the earth. They're different mixtures and combinations, but hey, big pharmaceuticals don't want pot to be legalized.
100%.
100%,
Yeah.
because you wouldn't be taking a lot of
And
pills. for the
alcohol
shit that
doesn't
you're
either.
taking.
Big alcohol doesn't either. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's and you don't get hangovers with it if you
Exactly.
I mean, if people remember, drinking, there's no downside of it. Just wears off, and you just do your thing, so.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. It's good talking about.
Yeah,
You
you
wouldn't have
too.
done this 50 years ago.
Yeah.
There's no way you would have admitted that.
Right. Yeah. There was. Are you needing to get out of here soon?
Nope. I'm okay right now.
All right. Cool. There was something we do need to come back to FCC. We never picked that back up. You said take note of that.
That's Rupert Murdoch saw his chance because, let's face it, if you could have a television broadcasting show and be biased in your political favor and spew forth lies under the auspices of news. In defense of a lot of these Trump people, they really do think it's news when they hear Laura and all these crazy wackos over there broadcast. It's a commentary. We used to have it. Walter Cronkite was the anchor for CBS, and he would give an editorial, and he would say, what the United States government is doing in Vietnam is ridiculous. The war should be stopped, blah, blah, blah. This is not necessarily the opinion of WEWS. So you always had to do that. But you don't have to do that Fox doesn't have to do that. Right. So these innocent people across America sitting in their rural house homes while they vacuum or whatever are watching these. It's lies. It's not lies. It's stories made up.
And coupled with them being religious, I don't mean to project anyone's beliefs or what they, whatever, but at the same time, they might believe, oh, this is the apocalypse. This was foretold in the Bible. And I believe that's like the fact that Trump is like has his own Bible. He's trying to tap into that market.
Hey,
and he's
did you ever think
to
the people that wrote these things, the Old Testament and whatever, they're probably a bunch of Trumpsters of their era. And they would just go kill your wife if she screws someone else, stone your wife to death, that kind of shit.
I'm not very well versed with the Old Testament and stuff like that.
You're lucky.
I am. I definitely. Yeah. And even with the New Testament, like I went to catechism and I learned, the underlying messages, and I learned about some stuff.
They're metaphors, but I'm never meant to be taken literally. They're metaphors.
But I did take a lot of it literally,
What specifically? What specific part?
I mean, just like it was hard to wrestle, like the fact, like hell being a specific place and heaven being a specific place, and like Jesus being like literally walking on water, and the bread and the bread and the fish.
It's a nice story. Those are nice stories. You hear them every Sunday, but now it's like me believing that, hey, you know what? That's what the Christians believe, and that's okay. And that's what the Hindus believe, and that's okay. And that's what the Jews believe, and that's okay. That's what the atheists believe, and that's okay. Because it's all about God. I am not of the mindset that this is it, you die and it's blackness.
I don't either.
Oh my God, it goes on forever, has been, whether it's parallel universes, which I'm of the leaning that it is. Somewhere right now, Brendan and Jeff are having this discussion in another time, space, planet probably millions of light years away.
Yeah.
Because why not? It's endless. There's no end to space.
Right.
You don't come to a sign that says end to space.
Yeah, the parallel, the parallel universes and alternate, all like multiverse and stuff like that
Right.
is so interesting because like it's like I think back like a specific moment where in college there was a moment where there was a girl I really liked and I knew she wanted me to kiss her and I just didn't. And I even I
Shy.
talked myself into it. I was just like, all right, on 3 I'll do it. 1, 2, 3. Oh man, I didn't do it. 1, 2, 3 I'll do it. Nope, I didn't do it. And I just kept telling myself this, and then I eventually built that fear up so much in my head that I never took action. And then I felt weird to continue talking to her because I built it up so much in my head. And when I asked her to be my girlfriend in the most awkward way possible by putting it on a white t-shirt underneath my overshirt on a future date, and I said, will you be my girlfriend? Check yes with a big box or no with a small box. And she's
That's
like,
cute. That's cute.
It was, but it wasn't due yet. And I wasn't comfortable with myself enough and I wasn't comfortable with her enough. And she gave me a good answer. I just heard it differently because she was like, I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no. I just normally would know the person better before I would call them
And
my
that's-
boyfriend.
That's quite all right.
And to me, I was just like, she doesn't like me. She hates me. And then but I still liked her so much that I like kind of allowed myself to be like I held myself back for like a year plus, like 2 years during college because I was so hung up on her, but I also was still afraid to talk to her. But I like when I finally did send her a message, she's like, oh, thanks for sending this. I appreciate that. I hope we can be friends. I didn't know. I thought you hated me. I was like, no, it's the opposite. Like a part of me felt like I loved you, like, but, and I realized now that wasn't like full,
You were
like
young.
normal love.
You were
yeah.
young,
I was
too.
19.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But like those like, I forget how I even got started on that tangent, but
talking about the girlfriend afraid to kiss her.
oh yeah. So like I was I built that up in my head so much. So why? Oh, the multiverse. So there is a version of me that did kiss her, or whatever, or like I imagine like it, like for real. This is not hyperbole. If I would have kissed her that day, my life would have been I would not be sitting here right now. Just like, it's weird to pick one specific moment that can change your life so much. And it's weird that little thing did affect me so much, but it was because I allowed it to affect me so much.
You're speaking Dean Koontz's latest book. It's called Never, I believe. Anyway, it's about a father and a daughter in a beach town in California that something happens and they're transported to another. It's their house, but it's black darkness and Trump arresting people, and then he goes, oh, I know what it is. It starts with this guy, a bum that lives in the tents up in the hills, gives him this box and says, never open it. Whatever you do, don't open it. And of course he did. He opened it. It was the key to the universe. And it was the digital thing. And his daughter's there. And she goes, go ahead, Dad, try it. So he pressed the button and and the screen lit up. And there were like 3 things in an X, or it was transport. And they pressed, and this is not exact. I'm not giving it verbatim, but they pressed transport, and boom, white light. There they were, and I forget what year it was. And there's murder involved and everything. But Dean Koontz is bizarre anyway. But he wrote, and they had several times, and including that gentleman, he also goes back and forth because he knows what's happening. Mm-hmm. He had the secret to the world. He invented this device, but he wanted no one to get it because he knew if someone like Donald Trump possessed this, he could rule the world with it. Yeah. So, but that's a good book. And yeah, I do think you're right. I think we take our last breath and we go, hey, we got time for, if I talk for 2 more minutes. Steve, my partner, the night before he died, we're laying there in bed and he's looking up at the ceiling and staring with his mouth open. I go, what are you looking at? He goes, people in a top. And I go, well, what are they saying?
People in a top. What do you mean?
A top that spins.
Oh.
That's what. People in a top that spins. And I go, well, what are they saying? He says, they're saying, you stop prying. You get to go through this yourself someday. You'll find out. And then he died. So basically, I know that he was being told what lies beyond. And I've read a lot about this, the death and dying process, and the different religions of the world all describe it differently. Like for you, the Catholics, it's like, boom, you shoot up there into heaven and sitteth on the right hand of God the Father Almighty, who will judge the heaven and earth. See, I was a good Lutheran boy too. Mm-hmm. Anyway, and then the Buddhists think that, you travel you have challenges as you go along this walk, and you have memories and choices and things, and you'll choose. And it's interesting that all the religions of the world think that they're right, but yet they don't have a national meeting. We should have a big auditorium where they all come and share their beliefs with one another. Maybe there would be fewer wars. I mean, I'd like to see an Earth without any boundaries.
Yeah.
Just one planet. There'd be no crime. There'd be no need for police because there'd be no crime. You'd probably have to fire departments because you got to put out fires.
Sure.
But you wouldn't have prisons. You wouldn't have prisons because the poor and the homeless would be helped, and those less fortunate wouldn't be living in projects.
Right.
Because we're sure that everyone was equal.
Yeah. People are cared for. People are taken care of because, like, why does crime exist? Because poverty exists.
Poverty exists.
And it's design power. Yeah, it's design poverty. And it's
more than that. It's now I think it's getting into action, especially for younger people. It's like, what can you do? Get involved with these like big brother, big sister programs and get put some role models out there. But more importantly, I think the left and the right could come together to say, okay, those of you in rural Indiana, we're going to have an exchange program. We're going to send the black children from the projects in Camden to your house for a week with you or your children. And then your kids are going to go to the projects in Camden and spend a week and see how each side lives. Mm-hmm. And when they come back, guess what they're going to tell each other? It's going to be an awakening. See how these words woke and awakening? That's how we're going to change when we begin communicating with one another, understanding. We don't have to know the reason why they think or believe the way they do, but we have to look at them as human beings. We're human beings first.
Yeah.
Skin color makes no difference. Religious affiliation, we're human beings. Let's stop this fighting. Let's live in peace. Let's make it a better world. Let's stop polluting the planet. Mm-hmm. All these things, and I think I mentioned that in my preface to my book.
Yeah, let me just prop it up here just so people can see it.
About how we have to Maui, one of the most beautiful places on the planet 2 years ago, burned to the ground. These are wake-up calls. And now we're back with an administration that cutting the EPA, we're going to start polluting the rivers again.
Yeah.
We're going to kill our grandchildren, great-grandchildren, if we even have great-great-grandchildren.
Yeah, and they're trying, like, they were talking about getting rid of the NASA satellite that captures carbon dioxide emissions.
Why? I'm saying we're supposed to understand, accept each other, but why would you want to get rid of something like that?
Because if the information doesn't exist, it doesn't conflict with your view. They want to, because if that information is showing that climate change is real, then they have to address it, but they've been ignoring it for all these years, and they don't want that data. It doesn't make any sense.
The latest is probably out. It was supposed to come out today. Kennedy and Trump, they're going to say that Tylenol causes autism.
I saw that they had a big announcement today.
It's just he's the guy had worms in his brain. I mean, come on.
And autism is such a word that is still not understood 100% either. Like,
my brother's on the spectrum, and I never knew it.
And I'm wondering. I listening to people. I've met people who are autistic and having conversations with them, and also listening to some podcasts of people who are on the spectrum. I realize that I identify with some of those traits, and I'm actually I'm waiting to schedule an appointment to get tested myself.
That could be a lot of your, because sometimes I question whether I may be too.
Yeah.
Because it's something that there's the extreme autistic people, and they're definitely autistic, and then there are those who tend to be on the creative side, and I don't think it's a bad thing at all.
I don't either, and that's the point.
Yeah, it's great.
It's a recognition. It's recognizing the, like, to me, why, like, I feel like I recognize different people's or just like different tendencies or different patterns in my own life, but also other people's lives and stuff, and then I kind of contextualize them through my own lens and my own understanding. But I'm just sensitive to things like that, and I also it leaves me kind of feeling like an outsider sometimes, because I can't look past the veneer or like the bullshit that some people have like as an affront or whatever.
See, this is your attribute. You're very wise, and you're gifted, and you were sent here for a reason. And I think you've found your reason with what you're doing right now. You have a message that I call them my spirit guides, want us to put out there. So this is your medium, these podcasts. I brought up a good one. Why they name it that? But this is the way you change the world. And this is the way you get people listening, and people talk about it and say, he makes a lot of sense, or what they're talking about that's how we change.
Yeah,
we
just little
small steps. Yeah, and it's going to work.
People forget about the intermediate steps, or they're not aware of them. Like, where in my hometown, I feel like there's high school basketball, and then there's the NBA, and nobody can cross that threshold unless they're already the best player in the world. Unless they're already LeBron James.
Anybody can do anything. You can do anything you want to do. I have proven that in my life, and at this stage, the next adventure for me, because I got too comfortable with where I am right now here in Cleveland, and then we wintered down in St. Pete.
Yeah,
I want to sell Cleveland, and I want to buy a condo in Honolulu overlooking the ocean.
Ooh. And
I want to spend my final years riding and going to the beach in Hawaii.
That'd be awesome.
That's scary as hell. You know what it's like to have the other side of the world, and I don't have the job I had then, and oh my God, housing's so expensive, and food, and blah blah blah.
But you'll figure it out.
I already have. I found a small studio with a Murphy wall bed, a kitchen, washer, dryer, and a parking space for under $300,000, overlooking Diamond Head and the ocean. Very manageable, isn't it?
Yeah.
My partner is ex-military, so we have benefits of the commissary to buy the food cheaper and the gasoline.
Yeah.
Address that issue. You don't need anything over there. You have flip-flops and board pants. People don't dress up.
And who knows what other opportunities you're going to figure out once you're over there too.
That's it. It's like I wrote the book, but it's like the psychic told me I would. But that's not the book that is going to make me the well-known reader. That's the impetus to it. It's going to be my next book, and I've already started on it. I know what messages I'm supposed to do and everything, so I think that's going to be the stepping stone. And what better place to write something like that, spiritual and self-help enrichment, change the world, than in the beautiful waters of Waikiki.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I'm excited to.
Thank you.
Excited for
well,
you
if
to
I'm
write
still
it.
here next year, you'll know why I chickened out. I let that lower self tie me here, but because stepping out, change is painful, as you found out.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of other people know that. It's like it is, but if you're willing to take that chance, you're not going to fail.
Yeah, just continue. Yeah, just trust that you'll figure it out.
Failure is not an option. You will be provided for.
Yeah.
That's universal law. You are, I exist, I am. So if you are and you exist and I am, something has to be with you following along this plateau.
Yeah, and everything is moment by moment. Do you trust yourself in a moment? Yeah, like I do. And do I trust myself 5 years from now, on stage somewhere maybe? I would hope so.
You don't worry
I'm
about
not,
that part. You
I'm
just
not
picture
there yet.
yourself, Louise Hay.
I'm not there yet, and whatever.
You don't picture. The thing with that is they say, the guides say, you're not supposed to figure out the hows. All you're supposed to know is the reality of you doing it. You continue to tell your mind, picture yourself on the stage at NBC with a script in your hand, with an assistant talk. You create all these wonderful visualizations in your head, and then you let them manifest on their own. So that's what I'm saying. Whatever you want to do in life, you do it. You just have to believe it and continue to believe it. Act as if it's happening right now at the moment, and your dreams will reinforce it more. That, along with the positive mindset of getting up in the morning, I love and approve of myself. It's going to be a great day today. I'm so grateful for everything that I have in my life. Life is good.
Yeah.
Thank you, universe. Thank you.
Yeah.
And if you believe that, the miracles do unfold.
Yeah, and then that's the thing that's in your vision, and everything else is kind of a step towards that. Even if it's that's the way I see it. Is like I'm following. I want to work as a writer. I want to work in TV. I want to work in movies, and like the little steps. I'm taking acting classes.
I am working. I got to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Dr. Dyer points this out in Louise Hay, both of them. Put it in present tense.
And
I am working in.
I am working.
Yeah. I am, because you already are.
And I am, yeah.
Because you go, I want to be, and that universe out there, whether it's in parallel or wherever, it says, okay, Brandon, we'll let you want.
And that
put it in present tense.
And I guess that's a good point, because I am currently doing these things. I guess the want is the maybe my ego wanting that validation of getting paid to do that.
What's wrong with getting paid to do what you love? What's wrong with that?
No. There's nothing wrong with that. I guess my point is, like, my want is just myself recognizing I'm not at a level that I am striving for yet, and that's okay, because that's part of the process for now, and something will happen if I don't give up. Like,
I love and approve of myself.
Yeah.
I love and approve of myself.
I love and approve of myself. I haven't said it yet, so.
There you go. Yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
Continue to say it, and you'll see miracles coming for you, too.
Yeah. Thanks.
Hey, this has been great. Thanks for asking me.
Of course. I do want to touch one more thing real quick, if you're cool with it. So I find it really fascinating that you got to be on Tosh.0.
There again, serendipity, things like that. Working out every day.
Yeah.
And in Manhattan Beach, where I was living, and a producer from the show saw me at the gym. And again, vanity, but I had it, and that was, my physique was even bigger. Mm-hmm. Anyway, they were looking for a bear, a hairy guy bear, for this skit with him. And so they called,
so how involved were you in acting or anything creative?
I did not. I have never done anything in my life. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be an actor.
Yeah.
I am an actor.
Yeah.
But I drove to Sony Studios, to where they recorded, and went in. Was met by his assistant. I had to fill out a lot of paperwork because I have my SAG card now. So, I can actually be a SAG actor,
Yeah.
And I do get royalties. It's just, But anyway, I went into the room where the set where they were shooting, and Tosh came out, and the cameraman, and Tosh looked at me, goes, "Are you an actor?" And I go, "No, why?" He goes, "I was just wondering." And so it was a very short. It had a dog growling, snarling, and then the next scene is Tosh, and he goes, "I once wrestled a bear," and then they flash on me with my shirt off, standing there, and then Tosh goes, "1, 2, 3, 4. I declare a thumb war."
Yeah.
And then I go 5, 6, 7, 8. I use that hand to masturbate.
All right, loser gets his balls lopped off. He's a mix, half German Shepherd, half drunk guy at a bar. He's growling because a dog's leg doesn't bend that way. wish the movie The Gray would have ended like this. Way better than everyone dying, including Liam Neeson, with 3 mini bottles scotch taped to his knuckles. Spoiler alert. I once thumb wrestled a bear.
1, 2, 3, 4. I declare a thumb war.
5, 6, 7, 8. I use that hand to masturbate.
The best part of winning is getting to shove the champ up victory circle.
I know, it was so funny. But the next day, or not the next day, but when it finally aired at the gym, I was like a Hollywood star.
That's
were you
amazing.
on Tosh Boy? Were you
Yeah.
on? That faded rather fast. But what I learned from that is that, yeah, I am an actor. I've acted as this straight dude with all my straight buddies, being straight, talking straight. Now, if I can do that, when inside, I came to the planet as a gay male. And I am gay, and I am so proud to be who I am today. I hope I'm a role model for any young, maybe a conservative, especially a conservative type boy thinking I'm sinful. This is bad. I got to change. Or I got to hide this. I'll go have sex with men in the woods and places like that where nobody knows about it.
Yeah.
And that's okay if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
But you know what? If you're gay and you really want a relationship with the person you're supposed to be with, accept yourself.
Yeah.
You know, that's the bottom line. And
Yeah.
when I finally learned to do that, that all changed for me. But so anyway, that's how I got. So my royalties, back to my royalties, wealthy, right?
Yeah.
Last check was $2.63.
That's funny. Like every month? Or?
Oh no, about I think quarterly, something
Quarterly,
like that.
okay.
But it was still a fun experience,
Yeah.
and I often
you-
wondered if I would have there in L.A. when I was still there in L.A. Why didn't I go and get some headshots done and go out and shop myself around? You know, say
Yeah.
I'd like to portray the part of a 50-year-old butch straight guy, like a cop, stopping state trooper or whatever, because that's the part I could act.
Yeah.
I could get in the mind of any straight man and act straight and love the opposite sex. I'll be real convincing, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of gay stars now, you know, are doing parts. Before they really couldn't do that.
Yeah.
But now they are. There's more that are still playing that romantic half to the woman. So
It's funny you bring that up because I used to love the show. I just haven't watched it for a while, but How I Met Your Mother.
It's so funny.
Yeah, like Neil Patrick Harris
Yeah.
playing the womanizing guy,
Yeah,
but he's
exactly,
gay.
exactly.
But then my favorite part is Wayne Brady plays his brother, who's gay in the show, but he's straight. Well, I guess he's come out as bisexual since, but at the time he was believed to just be a straight guy, and it was just really funny that you had Neil Patrick Harris playing, the opposite, and then Wayne Brady perceivably playing the opposite.
And while we're on that subject of bisexuality, that is where gay was 50 years ago. We're still not to the point where if you're bi, that you're going to tell people, unless you are in that situation, you don't tell people. And that's where we need to lift that stigma. You know what? Kinsey talked about this in that survey in the 50, scale 1 to 10. He said everyone is on the scale of 1 to 10. Some slide more to the middle, some slide back all the way to the 10. But the fact is, and I realize that now because I've been with enough bisexual men over the course of my lifetime. And that is they were born that way. Just like I like men, they were born liking men and women. They learned to like one at the beginning, right? Most of them. But if something happened where they experienced that other part of them, they found out that they're bi. And that's what I hope that for bisexuals, society is much more like weed, much more accepting of it.
Yeah.
It's not, and take frickin' religion out. I don't accept it anymore.
Well,
don't say it's sinful because that's your opinion.
There and that specific thing is a tool built to create that stigma. And that's why I believe that's why I believe there are certain malicious sides or certain things that religion is harmful. You know, it's harmful to society for those reasons because it's dehumanizing someone else. It's othering someone else.
You know, the Catholic Church has the largest art collection in the world, and they own more of the real estate in Manhattan than anyone else. wow, keep going on Sunday and putting your money in that offering plate.
Right.
Granted, they do a lot of good, but granted, these priests and cardinals live pretty well, and they got to keep
Yeah.
people coming to church and putting money in. Bottom line is believe in yourself, have faith. Faith has nothing to do with religion. Be a
That's
good
it,
person.
yeah.
Be a good person.
Being
help others. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what it's all about.
Having faith is a mindset.
It is.
It's not a.
It's not
It's
Jesus.
not a quality.
It's not this
Or
Jesus that they portray. That it's like that you're looking at some faith is in. They say God is within. That we are God. Be still and know.
Yeah.
For I am God. And that's a real egotist. But I believe it's true. What if God is within?
We are all the ocean. I've heard this. This isn't something I came up with. I've heard it related this way, but. We're all drops in the ocean, and we are the ocean, but we're all drops. And sometimes like our drops can get, come out of the ocean, but we're still falling back to the ocean. We're all part of the same thing. We're all part of the same consciousness, but we still have our uniqueness, but we still are part of the same thing.
You need to do more podcasts like this because you have an audience just waiting. They need to be healed. They're hurting right now. They're negative because there's so much negativity out there. But listening to people like you talk about what we have talked about today, that initiates change. It plants something in someone's mind. And the gift that you've been given is the fact that you're able to speak and explain it so eloquently.
Thanks, and I appreciate that a lot because I feel it, and I feel like there's been a lot of work that I've had to do to get to a point of understanding myself enough to be able to express
Absolutely.
it.
Where Buffoon Brandon? Where did that come from, and how?
So in 2021 or so, a couple buddies and I started a movie podcast called The Movie Buffoons, and
Okay.
We would just watch a movie. One every 2 weeks was our general schedule,
And then talk
and we would
about
just
it.
talk about the movie.
Very cool.
It was fun. It was. I wanted it to kind of have it or have a little bit more structure and be more intentional about the quality of it.
Right.
And
right.
I feel weird even saying this, but I just feel like my buddies weren't as into it because they had other stuff going on, and
Right.
so it kind of fell by the wayside. And but long story short, is the movie Buffoons turned into I forget how it came up, but I was like, oh, BUFFoonBrandon, sure. And
It sounds great. It
thanks,
works. It
thanks.
flows. It flows.
Yeah,
I
I
think
was
we're
pretty
going to be
happy.
hearing a lot about Buffoon Brandon over the coming months and years. Yeah.
I actually got to meet Michael Longfellow from SNL
Oh,
last year,
Yes,
and
they cut him out.
I
right?
know,
Why?
yeah.
He's so
I don't know.
talented.
Yeah.
That kid is so talented.
He-
but this opens up new doors for him.
it will.
It
yeah.
will,
And
definitely,
he's
definitely.
going to land on his feet because he's.
Oh, yeah.
He was a genuinely cool guy.
Oh,
too.
he's a great
Like,
actor.
Yeah.
He could play any. What's interesting about being an actor is that you choose your part that's in life that you want. Look at Paul Lynde. Paul Lynde became Paul Lynde in so many TV shows, acting as this Nelly, always nervous Nelly, and people loved him and laughed. And he was gay. And any these TV shows from Granny, who played Granny on the Beverly Hillbillies, played it to a max. And if you ever saw her in real life, she really looked like she could be a granny. So I
Yeah.
think that it's interesting how you can take your part, whatever part you want to be, and take it into any medium, and
Yeah.
it'll work. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And just real quick to finish my thought, we were just hanging out on the sidewalk, smoking a joint. I'm sure he wouldn't care that I'm telling him. He's pretty open about smoking weed on stage. But we were smoking, and he asked for my Instagram handle. I was like, oh, it's BUFFoonBrandon. He's like, how'd you get that? And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just got it. And he was like, it felt like a really nice compliment getting
It was.
it's weird that I got complimented about my Instagram handle, but it was like, it felt kind of nice. It's like, and it's kind of similar to his too, because he's Longfellow Michael and is Michael Longfellow, whatever,
Right.
BUFFoonBrandon. But I like alliteration, so that's why it's BUFFoonBrandonbanter. But
It's very cool. It's
but-
very cool. Yeah, I like the fact that the animals are in it too, taking part. Look at that. you know.
yeah, Barley basically is always changing the way he's laying
he's-
20 times,
He's
and
beautiful. He's
Artie pops in and out as he
a
wants.
little soulmate there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks.
cool. You're welcome.
All right, yeah. Well, thanks, Jeff. Is there any social media that you would want to plug, or I want to?
I have a website, an author webpage. It's
Okay.
jeff-wilkins-author.com. And that we post my book signings and any events I have, and more on who and what I am, and where I came from, and where I'm going. We'll find out.
Yeah, for sure. And you can also find Jeff's book. It's called Watching the Asparagus Grow. Jeff Wilkins. You can see it right here. I'll put a link to this on Amazon, I'm sure.
It's Amazon, actually, any online or retailer, and any bookstore can get it now too.
Awesome. Yeah. I know at one point you mentioned possibly doing an audiobook. Are you still thinking about that?
I
or-
am still thinking about that, but it either has to be the second book or an audiobook. And
Yeah.
and now that I've done the podcast and experience, because this is basically all it is, finding
Yeah,
a studio.
just a good audio. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I may, because there's a lot of the 70 plus category that can't read anymore, their eyesight, and they say they
Yeah.
listen. But then I talked to a young lady at the gym the other day, in her 30s. She goes, "I listen to books all the time when I'm jogging." You
Yeah.
know, so I'm sure there's a market.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Cool.
And especially if it gets into the Libby or like in the library system.
Mm-hmm.
Libby is an app that I use regularly, and it's an app where you can check out audiobooks from your local library,
really?
and you
Very
can just
cool.
listen to them.
Oh
So
yeah, it's very cool.
I listened to Bob Odenkirk's comedy drama the other day, and I finished it the other day, and that's a really, really good book too. I love Bob Odenkirk.
I love the one you had on the toilet. Things you learn while you sit on the toilet. I was
Yeah.
looking through it. It's like, this guy's a genius. He smoked the whole way through the book, writing this stuff.
Did you happen to see the art that I had above the sink?
No.
All right.
ADD in action.
All right, wait right here. I'll bring it out just
All
because
right.
I think you'll appreciate it, and then you can get out of here after that. All right, so I made this a couple years ago, and I just had I just had the idea pop into my head. I'm just like, I'm just going to write this. It was with colored pencils, so it looks a little shitty, no pun intended.
Have a stupendous shit. I like it. I like it. Where'd you come up with that?
I heard the word stupendous used in some kind of context, and then I also heard spoopendous, and I was just like, I can do something with that.
Yeah, I was, again, my ADD is coming in. I looked at Blast Off. Is that your work right there?
No, I got that at Savers for a few bucks,
Yeah,
but I want
like
to.
it though.
I thought it was cool too. I'm going to draw something
And
onto it.
what's the Abraham Lincoln?
So the community yard sale we had a few weeks ago or whatever.
Yeah. When you bought my chest.
Yeah, about your
Right,
chest. That's
right.
up in my attic right now. I'm using it as an extra table.
Very cool.
Yeah, I was interested in it, but I didn't want to pay the $10 that they were asking for it. And so
Make an offer.
I could have, but I ended up just not. And then they had a bunch of free stuff just right across the street. And this was one of the
was
free
in.
things. I was like, all right, well, I guess I get it anyway.
Serendipity. It's like
Yeah.
it looks like a dolly, actually. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's some kind of plaster painted gold, and then my buddy Josh Belford he works on the show. He did work on the show Big Mouth on Netflix. He's an animation production coordinator, basically, and he drew this Mario, which I bought a print of, and then those are puzzles that I did. And then this is second place for this is the first time I've had any of this stuff up on the wall, actually.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
you're the first recording
Very
with all
cool.
of this stuff.
Yeah, and the lamps too are they're lamps, I assume, those two?
Yeah, I
interesting.
So I found this bookshelf on the side of the road a few years ago, and it was still in like solid good shape. So I sanded it down, stained it blue, and I have a bunch of these birch logs, and I drilled a hole through them, made them into lamps, attached them to this.
Wow, are you talented? What can't you do?
I don't know.
You did that one too.
I made this one. I made the one next to you there.
Oh wow, yeah, you're definitely have a gift. Don't ignore it. Use it. Follow your personal faith there, and watch your dreams unfold.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Jeff. This has been a really fun conversation.
It was my first.
I really
my first
appreciate it.
Yeah, very cool. All right.
Well, cool, and hopefully not your last. Hopefully
Yeah,
you get to do some more cool podcasts, whether it's mine or someone else's.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Affirm it.
Cool.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Brandon. Nice talking to you.
You too.
There we go. Oh, offset action. Very cool. Well, that was fun. I really enjoyed myself.
I did too.
You know, because I had no idea. I watched 2 of them, and I thought, well, let's talk about whatever comes up. You know, current events or whatever is going on. So.